Welcome to Extracurricular, your gateway to the not-so-hidden treasures of the UNO campus. For Mav News, this is Michael A.C. This installment is on UNO Theater. Located at the Weber Fine Arts Building in the basement is the Black Box Theater. That's where all of the musicals and plays are located. And towards the end of 2017, I spoke with some of the members of the UNO Theater Department. We talked about the polarizing musical, Spring Awakening.
The music and the story have really grown on me. When I saw it a few years ago, I didn't really connect with it, but this time seeing it, I learned so much more from it, and I've seen it several times since it's opened. And every time I learn something new, and I just connect with it in a new way, and the music is gorgeous, so yeah, I'm going to miss that.
On an audience base, it was I think the students were able to relate to the characters that were in the play. They were based it on 14-year-olds, but I think the tone of the play and the content of the play spoke well to a college generation of student. Plus, it was a rock musical, so it was loud, flashy lights moving all over the place. It felt like a rock concert. It plays well. There was some darker undertones to the play, and I think that they were handled very well. There were some triggers that I think allowed some people to think deeper about what our adolescent kids could be going through, and how there's ways that adults can turn around and recognize those issues and be able to add assistance where possible.
And a trigger warning is really just a warning to people that if this is something that you struggle with or that you don't want to see on stage, you should know ahead of time that this is going to happen.
It was in the program, it was in the lobby, it was on the websites, we did everything with the exception of having a live actor come out on stage prior to the show and warn people of triggers that were going to happen. That was brought up. We had that conversation. I was concerned that it was going to be too much and that it would actually enhance the severity of the triggers that were in the play.
They've been pretty much sold out every single night, and there's been a lot of standing ovations and a lot of reaction from the audience. So it's always really nice to know that the audience is on board with the show and having a good time.
Spring Awakening was a hit. However, sold-out shows are not a common theme with UNO Theater. Truth be told, the campus athletic culture is more popular. However, the theater department feels that both cultures have a lot in common, that there's something for everyone, and believe it or not, if you want to give it a try, the price for UNO students is perfect.
Some of the lesser-known plays are a little more difficult, or like the classics. The first show this year, Our Town, is a pretty well-known show, so that one wasn't too difficult. But sometimes I think if it's a show that people aren't familiar with, it can be a little tougher to get them to come. Students get in free with their Mav card, which they should definitely know.
Actually, I started this venture about 15 years ago. Our audiences were about 20% students, university students were coming to our productions. And I was looking at athletics, seeing all the students that were going there. A lot of students just didn't understand what theater was and didn't understand it was right here in their back door on their campus. So with the work from Dean Gail Baker, we started the cultural enrichment fee. I had that idea that if I could make theater and all of the arts accessible to students for free, that hopefully we'd be able to start building that culture on our campus. So 10 years ago, the cultural enrichment fee was started, and since then we've been able to see our enrollment, our participation in our plays go up to over 50% of university students. So the word is starting to get out there.
You're kind of paying for all of the arts by doing that, and so you should get to come to all the things like concerts and art galleries and theater and stuff.
It's interesting because sports is theater. Theater is also sports.
Sports are all about people collaborating and coming together for a common goal, and that's exactly what theater is. And if you enjoy watching people really go after something that they want, that's like true drama right there. And so really, to me, sports and theater are so similar. It's just people going after something that they really want to win, and you don't know whether they're going to win or not, and that's the exciting part of it.
When we're doing a production, we have our actors, our athletes. They have rehearsals or their practices, and then they have their performances or their games. They also have their audiences that they play with. They have the directors, which are the coaches. So theater and athletics are very, very similar. They just deal with different types of culture.
I was an athlete in high school. Just for my first 2 years, though, I wrestled. And then I took about a year off of kind of just everything, my junior year, to be specific. And then senior year, is kind of where I would say I accidentally fell into theater. I actually got casted for a play without even really trying to audition. I kind of went to an audition, not expecting to audition for it, and I got a part, and that was like the beginning of my theater career. So that's kind of where it started for me. In terms of the athlete part, you know, I've always kind of been a big, stocky guy, so it's not really like, you know, off-key for me. You know, I consider myself an athletic person. I love to play sports, so, you know, I can't really get mad at the assumption. It is what it is, but like, you know, as far as I'm concerned, for the past 3-4 years, I've considered myself a theater guy. So, I mean, that's where I'm at, and, you know, hopefully they can both correlate somehow. Maybe I'll be a sports guy in a movie somewhere someday. You never know.
Well, funny story, before I really committed myself to acting, I was selling cars. To be honest, I sort of just fell into it. I never did theater a day in my life. Until I came here, actually. I wanted to be a screenwriter. And my screenplay writing teacher was so adamant about really immersing yourself in all aspects of the craft that she said, well, there's auditions, how about you try auditioning and see if you can't get an acting gig to further your experience. And so I did, and I got cast by God's will somehow. I didn't know what I was doing, and I fell in love. I changed my major, and I never looked back. So really, the theater department more found me than me finding it.
In the last production we just did, we had 3 music majors that were in the play, in the Spring Awakening. So there's always opportunities. We've had math majors, I've had engineering students come over, and it's not only performances. They can also get involved with our theater productions backstage, whether it's running or scenery or lights or any of those opportunities. There's always ways to get involved. It really takes an army to do what we do, and we rely on our students to do it, and our productions are an extension of our classrooms. For Spring Awakening, I think we had a crew of 27 people backstage supporting the performances that were happening on stage. And that's just for the live performances. That also, all of the students build our productions. They paint the productions. I had 2 main students who painted the entire set for Spring Awakening, along with one of our faculty, my colleague Robbie Jones. And the costumes are built with the help of our shop managers. And the students do everything.
If you have never been to the Black Box Theater, it is incredible. The seating can be proscenium, thrust, in the round, or stadium style. Stage lighting is installed on a full tension wire grid system, which is technically the 3rd floor. Oh, God.
Are you afraid of heights?
No.
You want me to steal that from you?
Thank you. In my opinion, for anybody able to work 30 feet above the ground, that is dedication.
Who's allowed to audition for your shows?
Anybody. We try to make priority go to our students, both within the department and across campus. We want those opportunities to be the students first. But we also think it's important to infuse other professional actors to come in and work with our student actors. It just gives a different perspective of what the world is like outside of our university walls. The professional actors that we bring in they contribute to that, saying, okay, now at the next step, this is what we could be dealing with once we're out into the community. So we think it's important for the students to have that access to some professional actors. We try not to do it very often, just because we don't want to take an opportunity away from a student. But if there happens to be a role in a play that is, say, a more mature adult, that's not necessarily the 18 to 24 kind of age range, we might bring in a professional actor or something to fill in those roles.
In addition to the main stage productions, there are also student-run productions in the UNO Theater. Next up, on February 8th, 9th, and 10th, Brilliant Traces.
It is about a gal who shows up at the doorstep of this guy. It's just that this guy happens to live in the middle of nowhere in Alaska, and it happens to be during a blizzard. A little bizarre that she shows up. She shows up in a wedding dress. And she is not very healthy, so he aids her back to being in a healthy status, and then we get to see what ensues between them. Love and pain and everything in between. It's a 2-person play. We've got 2 actors in it who are Timothy Mantle and Megan O'Doherty.
I would just so happy that she even considered me for the parts, because especially like being a freshman, I think that was really cool that she even considered me to be Rosanna, so I thought that was really cool.
Don't forget, February 8th, 9th, and 10th, 7:30 p.m., free to the public. And we are also utilizing the production as a fundraiser for London Theatre Live, where some of the students within our department will get to go to London in May. And so we are going to take donated funds to go towards the London trip for anybody who wishes to participate in that venture of donating. But no pressure, no pressure. We just want people to come and have a great time and enjoy this wonderful story.
And on the main stage from February 21st until March 3rd, the Revolutionists.
It's a period piece with some contemporary additions to it. It's funny. It's going to be an enjoyable evening.
It is about 4 women, 3 of whom were real, 1 is fictional, but Marie Antoinette, Charlotte Corday, and Olympe de Gouges. And these are women who did not live at the same time necessarily and never met each other, but they're meeting in this fictional time while everything's happening. And so they're dealing with how they handle the potential of being assassinated, and how they deal with the revolutions that are happening, and how to form friendships with people that have really different values than you do. So it's a gorgeous show, and I'm super excited about it.
And to conclude the 2017-2018 school year, from April 11th until the 21st, Marat Sod.
So it's about the assassination of Jean-Paul Marat by Charlotte Corday, which is interesting because she's kind of in both spring shows, which is really interesting. People in an asylum who are putting on the show about the assassination, and so it's kind of got many layers to it. And so our production will be in a theater that's supposed to be an asylum with people that are putting on a show, trying to be these characters from history.
How do I describe this? It will be like no other thing you've seen in our theater space before. I'm just going to leave it at that. I think that we can compete with any theater in the city in terms of the quality of productions that we put on, the magnitude of the productions that we put on. Most of the productions that we have are at the budget level of Omaha Community Playhouse. We have different facilities than they do, of course. But I think the quality of productions we put out of here are commensurate with any other theater that's in Omaha. We're just going to continue to do what we do. We dedicate ourselves to the productions, and the only way that we get success out of that is to have our audience come and enjoy what we do. So I leave it to whoever's listening to this or watching this, that come and give UNO Theater a try. Come and give us a try, especially if you're a UNO student. Your MAV card gets you in for free. So you can come to our box office or just walk up night of show, show your flash your card, and you're in. And come experience UNO Theater for the first time. Or welcome back.
Before we wrap this installment, we do want to address the stereotype about theater, that it's for wimpy, geeky people. And if that's what you believe and that's your opinion, Shaquille Butler would like to respond.
You think it's for lumps, come audition for a play, see for yourself. You'll understand the months of rehearsal time, 6 days a week. It's very time consuming, it's very hard, and you think the acting is easy. Come try it, because it's really not. It's something that you got to work for. Some people it takes their whole lives.
Very powerful words from a very powerful human being. Well, that about does it for this edition of Extracurricular. Before I go, I want to let you know that at the end of 2017, I auditioned for a part in the UNO Theater. And as you see, I was called back. I'd love to tell you all about it, but I have to save that for part 2 of this story on UNO Theater. So please stay tuned. We appreciate your support of the station. This is Michael AC with Mavradio, KBNO 90.7 HD2 Omaha, Power With.